Hey guys, doing another battle vid here today, something different. Actually gonna have, not me playing for once, but two other really good players from the UK playing. This was shot during, whilst we're in Prague actually, so on the left we have Tommy Roberts, playing Goth Reuniclus with an interesting dribbling tech that we were talking to the Italians about, and it just makes so much sense in theory, so he was testing that out. And we have Dan Middleton, aka Pokemon Dan, on the right, playing Emboar Reshiram, I believe. So yeah, these two just had an amazing match like 10 seconds before this, so we thought you might as well try and record another one. Hopefully it'll be just as good. It wasn't quite as good, unfortunately, but it was still an interesting game to see how Drifblim can affect technically bad matchups. So obviously the worry for Tommy's Gothitelle here is Emboar being able to hit for 150, essentially one hit killing him. But he does have a number of outs against this deck, and so yeah, Dan knows this. Dan's playing 2-2 split of Emboar, and he is going to go straight on the offensive with Emboar and Collector and get 3 Tepigs, making two Tepigs and a Cleffer. He already had the Tepigs in hand, 2 Tepigs in hand, and he's going to go straight away and eke with 4 Tepigs on the bench, so he's not even bothering trying to set up Reshiram at this early stage in the game. He's going to go straight on the offensive. Tommy, unfortunately, has a terrible hand and can only attach an energy and pass, so Dan is just going to go straight off like a rocket, Rare Candy into Bad Ball, which isn't ideal, but you might as well use it if you've got it in your hand, and he's going to Oak. The only worry Dan will have now is if he can't really get the energies to fuel up this attack, because Tommy can capture it, leave it in the active position, and kind of just be gay to it really, kind of just leave it there without being able to attack if he does not have the energies to attack. Once again, Tommy has to just draw and pass, so it's already looking like a pretty bad game for Tommy, but he does try to stage a comeback at times. Dan is making full use of trainers whilst he has them, and he's gonna get a Pig Knight, hopefully evolving into a ability Emboar next turn, and he's just gonna eke and keep on getting fresh new hands. Tommy yet again has nothing going for him, and he's essentially saying, you know, I've got a twins, please come and take my your first prize, so that I can actually activate something, can do something in this game. Dan's not listening, and he's going to set up as much as he can. He gets the Reshiram down on the field, which is probably better for the early game pressure if he does that. He's going to attach the DC to his Bad Ball, which is crucial because it means he only has to discard 2 fire energies when he wants to use its Flare Blitz attack. So that's very convenient for him, and as Cleffer is still asleep, he can't do much more this turn, and he's going to pass. Tommy attaches an energy to the other Gothita and passes. So not really much to say on Tommy's side of the field, but we might see the first prize get taken here, and thus twins get activated, and hopefully Tommy can start building something up. He's got a nice ability Emboar on the bench to capture up and hold active if necessary. Dan is going to do something quite risky. He's going to prematurely attach the energies to Reshiram, which may not be the best idea because the Emboar is under no threat of being knocked out next turn, so you don't really have to commit any energies at this point in the game. But anyway, he's going to take his first prize with Flare Blitz on the active Gothita. This activates Tommy's twins, and he's going to get his Gothitelle out. He benches his phone, which is a Drifloon. That's what the upside down card is. It's a Drifloon, the pre-evolved version of Drifblim, and he's going to have to pass. He can't really do much else apart from capture the Emboar, hopefully force that to be active, and not be able to retreat. He won't be able to use Switch to get that out because of the obvious train lock, so at this point I think Dan, we're just getting the money ready for some pizza we're meant to be ordering. and not playing, but I'm sure Dan will pick up the pace pretty soon. Sorry about this, but what Dan needs to do is either power up his Emboar, which he seems to be doing now using Fisherman, or retreat it. He is going to make the better play and just power it up and start attacking for 80, because that's a sure 2-hit KO on this Gothitelle. So with that, Tommy has to Oak, because his hand is probably terrible, judging by what he's been doing in the last in the turn so far in this game. He's going to attach another Psychic to Drifloon and play Tropical Beach. Now what this does is it leaves Dan in a very tricky position. He's got two options here. He can either go for the knockout on Gothitelle with that ability Emboar and risk having that being taken away with Drifblim, or he can manually retreat it into something like Reshiram and take that prize. He's going to Juniper, hoping to fish for something good. He's got a Pignite now on the bench, so maybe he has a means to either, maybe he has an Emboar in hand, or has access to something that will help him get Emboar, namely communication, after taking out this Gothitelle, because he should no longer be under train lock unless Tommy can get a Gothitelle out this turn. So Tommy is gonna get that Drifblim out using Pokemon communication and attach DC to it eventually. Yep. It's going to evolve to Duosion and evolve to Gothorita and Oak, and hoping for a rare candy and Gothitelle, because that will mean that he'll be able to Drifblim, take away, and then go straight into Gothitelle. Although this is risky because he does have Dan does have a Bad Ball on the bench, so he can come and revenge KO a Gothitelle that is promoted active after this takeaway. He does get the Junk Arm, which allows him to get the rare candy into Gothitelle, so he does have that option to him, and he is just going to take away the Emboar, getting rid of Dan's means of powering up his attackers. But unfortunately for Tommy, Dan has a lot of energy on the field already, so whether this proves to be too much of a problem, we'll see. So Dan does just attach energy. He doesn't have the ability Emboar in hand, or maybe he just isn't playing it because there is no need to play it at this point in the game, because it might just become catcher bait, and Pignite only has 3 retreats, so that could be what Dan is doing. I don't know his hand, but that wouldn't be a bad play either. So there goes the Gothitelle. Tommy does have another Gothitelle to play with, and he's going to use Twins. At this moment in time, it's not looking good at all. He is going to just set up another Drifloon and Tropical Beach to hopefully be able to take away something else important again next turn. Tommy, I believe, is just going to show what Drifloon looks like for some reason. Don't know why, but yeah. So he's in a pretty sticky situation now, especially if Dan can get that ability Emboar down. It's not looking like he is though. And Dan is just going to use Heat Crash for 50, I believe, and put the Gothitelle under pressure. So Tommy's going to attach another energy to this Drifloon. I'm not sure whether he has the Drifblim in hand, or even the Reuniclus in hand, or anything, but he does have Twins, so he definitely has access to it now, should he need it. This ability Emboar is a huge wall in Tommy's progression in this game. Tommy's actually going to capture the Pignite and just leave it active and Tropical Beach, I presume. So Dan right now needs to find some way of getting this Pignite out. I think he's going to collect it for a Tepig now, just to probably thin out his deck a bit more so he can draw into the things he needs. He's got a... With Reuniclus on the field, he needs to be attacking with Bad Ball. Well, Dan needs to be attacking with Bad Ball to be one-hit KOing these things, otherwise Tommy will just spread the damage onto Drifblim, and then use Take Away to just get rid of all that damage again. So Tommy is going to continue with this Twins chain. I think that's the third he's played in this match, so he's only got one more, I think. and you can imagine how hard this decision must be. What on earth would you get in this situation? He's going to... I presume he got Drifblim from that, and he's going to threaten with the Drifblim again. If that bad ball does come back, he can just take that away if necessary. And I believe he's just going to Tropical Beach again, as he does not have the sufficient energy to attack anyway. So it's Dan's turn now. I believe he played a Sage's Training, and he's going to start attaching to Pignite. Still has no way of getting the Emboar at this point. I don't know why. Oh, he used Flame Charge to search for another energy in his deck to get just to get that bit closer to the retreat cost necessary to get it out of the active. So Tommy is actually going to retreat here into Drifblim, and then Oak. What I think he should have done is just waited for the Oak to come out before retreating, but as you should always do, the random effect before the guaranteed. But ideally from this he would have wanted the catcher, so that he could catcher up the Emboar and just take that away, because that is a huge threat at the moment. But instead, I'm not sure, I think he must have double retreated into Cleffer and Eeked. I'm not sure what he did there, to be honest. I believe that's what he did, but Dan is going to play I believe a Junk Arm for a switch, which brings out the Bad Ball. He's going to play Communication to get Emboar out, which means that's his he's pretty much fully set up fully set up again, after having been hindered earlier on in the game. At this point Tommy hasn't even taken a prize, because his setup was so bad that all he can really do at this point is try and disrupt Dan's setup to the point where he can actually start taking prizes on easy things like Tepig. So Dan has a Junk Arm again, which means he will be able to get the catcher to bring out the Gothitelle. And that essentially is going to be the game. I think Tommy is going to scoop at this point, because there is no way that he can win. Yeah, so Dan is just going to Flare Blitz for 150, and I do believe Tommy scoops after the top deck. So yeah, unfortunately not quite as good a match as they had before, but still a pretty interesting match to see how Drifblim can work and try and help turn the tide in your favour. It's not really a prize taker, it's more of a disruptor, and it's a good source of heal as well, as you do put 80 damage away. Next week I will, or whenever my next video does come out, that will be me playing the deck that I took to States, which was the deck that went 8-0 at the Prague Cup, which was Mega Magnezone Zorak, and I found that extremely fun, playing against George's Emboar Reshiram, so that'll be sometime in the near future. So anyway, yeah, thanks again for watching. Make sure to subscribe and check out PokeRemixStudio.com, and yeah, see you next time.